All right, the Bucks. So many ways to win a football game, and SuperSport United perhaps have the simplest of which. I'll get to that. So much, at stake with this game against them. It is talking Buccaneers with me, Fumane. As we play our last game against SuperSport United here at Orlando Stadium, like I said, so much around this game, in the context of the league and CAF Champions League football. Next season, we are sitting third currently. Second is Stellenbosch FC. It's in their hands. We've missed up on opportunities in the last two games to, get to second and have this in our hands when we lost against TS Galaxy and we drew against Richards Bay. I think those were the results. And so we're in this position where we're playing SuperSport United with, the possibility of us still qualifying for CAF Champions League. However, it's not in our hands. It's in Stellenbosch United's hands because they have the points on board. If they win their game, then they go to Africa. However, it's not all doom and gloom because Stellenbosch FC, I beg your pardon, will be playing against Richards Bay, the team which we dropped our points against. Richards Bay FC are in a context where they still also would like to stay in this league, so they're in a relegation battle where if they win their game, they could stay in this league, provided Royal AM drop points against Moroka Swallows. Now, obviously, Moroka Swallows game, there's a sense in which, it's very doable for Royal AM to win their game. However, Richards Bay will, in the context of Orlando Pirates, Richards Bay, we're glad to know that they will be giving this a fight because it means if they win against Stellenbosch FC, then they stay in this league, right? If they draw in that game and we win our game, then again, we get the points and we are ahead of Stellenbosch FC since we are only 1 point below them. Now, getting into the game, something I said already is that, SuperSport United, we all know Gavin Hunt. They've got a very simple way of playing. Perhaps the shortest way of getting to the opposition's goal in that they will not do very complicated things to try and progress the ball from the build-up phase from their defensive third to get to the final third where, you create chances and score goals. They'll try to keep it as short as possible. At times, most of the time actually going past the middle third to find people in the final third, people like Bradley Grobler, who's, a beast in the air, very good in the air, very good at holding the ball up, bringing in other players around him. And so they'll go from the defensive third straight to Bradley Grobler, sometimes Terence Chukwamanja, sometimes going towards the wing, towards the wingers. Lungu and Campbell play on the wings for them. They'll try and find those players direct from the defensive third. And if they don't keep the ball up, if they don't create the chance in that way, then they'll bring the other players into it. So as the ball drops into sort of the middle third, then you have the midfielders joining the likes of Marhaman and Spesihle Ndlovu. That's how they get involved in the game. They fight for those scraps, those second balls dropping into them. And then, as the ball drops into the midfield, then they'll try and find, the wingers. They'll go for wing play where they'll play Lungu or Campbell on the wings, maybe a marauding fullback, and then try and cross the ball into the box to find Chukwamanja and Bradley Grobler. So that's what to expect against them. Something we would have been training for as in Orlando Pirates to make sure that we keep them from scoring. Is we'll be practicing defensive set pieces. That's another thing that they'll be going for in this game. They play for those those chances. If they get a set piece, they want to score from that. They want to score from those second balls and stuff like that. So I think a lot of what will be happening at Orlando Pirates right now is at the Rain Stadium is we will be working on those defensive set pieces. We'll be working on those aerial duels. People like Olisanda, Tapelo Koki, I think, if he's fit, someone like Innocent Maela, if he'll be coming in, Tabiso Sasane, that's what they'll be working on. They'll be having a shift in their hands, trying to deal with Jugamanja and Bradley Grobler, again, who are very good in the air. That's what we'll be working on. However, I think it's business as usual. I think this is one of those games where we're coming against a mid to low block for us going forward. We're coming up against a team that will try to be as compact as possible, especially in the middle, having us have the ball in our build-up phase. So people like Olisanda, I think we'll see a lot of the ball. People like Sasane, if he's playing, we'll see a lot of the ball. And maybe I'm hinting at who I think should be playing, because I think those will be important. Those players will be important for us to try and penetrate them. At times, maybe going long ourselves, because I think, they'll try and be very organized. Something that I think is a bit of a criticism for us still is that, yes, we've seen games where we've dismantled teams. I think of, that Golden Arrows game where we won 7, and maybe that's perhaps the most obvious because of the scoreline. But I've seen these games where we're very good with our patterns, bringing people into the holes and controlling the game, creating chances from those spaces in the likes of Kabelo Dlamini and Maswanganyi, who look good on the ball when we've got that space in between lines of the opposition, right? But then you get these games where there's not enough space, and I think something that we can sort of, bring into our arsenal is something I saw a lot of the time last season. In fact, I think of a game when we played Cape Town City here towards the end of the season, where Sibisi went long and he found Saleng, and sort of just finding Saleng on the wing from our defense. And I think Saleng would have run with the ball, something like that, but we created a goal, sort of just going direct. And I think that's something that we need to bring into our tools in our arsenal, where in games like these, where we can't find a solution, where, just like in the Richards Bay game, where people like Maswanganyi are sort of hard to find, they have to be limited to playing in our half, in our sort of defensive third, in that middle, and not so much in the final third. Then you've got to have, Nda being able to create that chance. And I think that, again, relies on having people like Saleng who can sort of give us that width and be direct from those positions. And Mufukeng is another one who is sort of morphing his game into that kind of player who can be an outlet out wide. I mean, thinking of the game against Cape Town Spurs, where Talent Mbata sort of in our half played a good ball to Mufukeng, who was out wide and sort of alone, and Mufukeng went on to score for us in that way. So I think that's one of the other things that we can sort of, improve in, and I think it's one of the tools that we could use in this game. However, it's last game of the season. Something I'm excited for is, it's really a festival atmosphere when we come out here. Just the booze culture and the celebrations and, the atmosphere, and something that's improving again, that we're marveling at as the fans, is just the camaraderie between the players, the head coach, and the fans. It seems like there's such a relationship, with the chanting of the players' names, the celebration with the head coach and the fans. That's something that's so pleasing to see, and I think that's something that will put us in good stead going forward, not just in these games, but just going forward as a club. If we can improve in that sort of thing, I think it's going to be great for us, because we can definitely turn results as fans, where, like in this game, if you sort of go 1-0 down unexpectedly, you can, I beg your pardon, you can sort of expect that things might turn around, because the fans are at it, and we are supporting the guys, and we're cheering them on, and we are, behind them in that way. So it's a good atmosphere to be at Orlando Stadium lately, and I'll definitely be out here Saturday, cheering on the guys, looking to see a win. But I think one of the conversations that we gotta have, and I'm sorry to sort of pop the, I beg your pardon, to sort of pop the bubble, is that, I mean, if we fail to qualify for CAF in the league, I think if you win the Nedbank Cup, I might be wrong, and maybe you guys are gonna criticize me for not knowing my facts. I think if you win the Nedbank Cup, you qualify automatically for the CAF Champions League. I stand to be corrected on that, but provided that's true, if we fail to win, against SuperSport United, and and Stellenbosch go on to qualify for the CAF Champions League, then we'll obviously be looking to qualify via the Nedbank Cup. And should we fail to do that as well, I think there's going to be a conversation to be had around, what kind of has this been a success? Has this been a failure after 2 seasons for the head coach and sort of the players that he was given and the way that we sort of enforced in our squad? Has this been a failure? Is this something we can be proud of? What we've accomplished this season. And I think that conversation should be had. I think our club should be, as much as we should be behind the head coach, and I'm for that, but I also think that we've got to be brutal in some sense if we want to be, a really, 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 good team. And so definitely there's got to be a conversation to be had, whether or not third place finish and failing to win the Nedbank Cup, failing to qualify for Africa. Comparing that with last season, where we qualified for CAF, won the Nedbank Cup MTN8, finished second, even though things have felt good at the club this season, with the players and all of that, the revival of people like Fumane and all of that, even if those things have happened, a conversation definitely needs to be had because, on paper, we obviously would have underachieved compared to what we achieved last season. But maybe let me leave it here. I don't want to be negative. I'm positive. I'm optimistic. I think we're going to win our game, obviously hoping for Stellenbosch to drop points, hoping for Richards Bay to do a favor for us. But until then, up the mighty Bucks. Cheers. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video from Talking Buccaneers. If you did, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all our future content.